What is up, guys? Ncaa 31 here. And what is this? We are resurrecting Ncaa 14. And I decided to reboot my offline Dynasty. I'm going to stick with it this time. Too much time has elapsed between my last Yukon offline Dynasty video and too disjointed. And so I decided now that bull season is in full swing to do a reboot, and I am going to stick with it this time. Yours truly is the head man at Georgia Tech. I decided to use Georgia Tech for this reboot. I almost went with my Notre Dame Fighting Irish to unleash some revenge for their second half of the season just complete collapse. But decided to go with G Tech. It would have been a little bit too easy to, I think, recruit with Notre Dame. So G Tech it is, and that means plenty of spread option goodness out of the Georgia Tech playbook. I usually go either Georgia Tech or Navy's when I run Flexbone. There are a few subtle differences between the two. Georgia Tech's has the the Flexbone pistol plays in it, in addition to all of the traditional Flexbone spread option formations. And the offense in general is just a whole heck of a lot of fun to run. It can really pretty much be anything you want it to be. If you got a big time runner like Bad Vad Lee here and a good B back like David Sims, then you can do some, nice damage with the midline ISO, double options, and fullback runs. G-Tech also has Robert Godhigh and Sinjin Days for a little bit of perimeter action as well. You see Vad Lee here take it on the triple option here. He's basically a running back. He's not going to fumble. He's got the carry rating of running back, the juke moves and spin moves and elusiveness of a running back, and good speed. And here's Robert Godhigh on the slot back dive, bouncing it outside, kind of reading it like a zone play. And so far, we are clicking against the University of Southern Alabama. What I do is that I replace the generic FCS schools that are on the schedule with some geographically sensible patsies. And to have one as an opener kind of serves as a good warm-up for being away from the game for a while and being away from this offense for a while to get my timing down. And we pounded in with David Sims. Now, if I don't have a great dual threat quarterback, if that happens to occur, and I still have, good backs and a good fullback, I can just hand it off and also throw it a bit more. I have run and shoot, go, choice, and switch concepts, and as well as smash, four verts, and some other stuff, double posts. Not a diverse passing attack by any stretch, but enough to get it done, as well as play action passes. If I really, really wanted to, I can run the run and shoot out of this old school style, out of the Flexbone double slots, Flexbone close, slot left, slot right, and trips. So it can really be anything you want it to be offense. And of course, it's the inspiration of a lot of the shotgun spread option offenses you see today. Guys like Gus Malzahn and Chip Kelly, Urban Meyer, and Dan Mullen. You can go on and on and on. Of course, Rich Rod. They basically marry the old school option principles of the wishbone, the flexbone, the Tom Osborne I-bone of the 90s, the Delaware wing T. They marry that with a shotgun formation and basically replace the roles of the slot backs or wing backs, whatever the heck you want to call them, based on what kind of offense you're deriving it from, with wide receivers. And the shotgun formation, really the only difference. As a matter of fact, someone suggested that I look at New Mexico's offense. That's where Bob Davie is plying his trade these days, and I found some pretty good footage of it that I'm going to share later on. And they basically run a lot of this kind of stuff out of the pistol. And that's really one of the reasons why I love college football so much. You have such a diverse range of play styles in the college game. Just playing this game here against the little University of Southern Alabama, I actually really liked their offense. They have a neat little spread playbook. I would classify it as run balanced. Their offensive playbook in this game has some pretty good stuff going on. That's one of the reasons why I love bowl season so much too. You get to see a lot of matchups and a lot of programs that you don't typically see a lot, and you can see some very interesting things. Here I show a little bit of flex bone pistol zone read, get Vad Lee going, and Vad Lee basically represents the problem that Georgia Tech has in recruiting people, really elite blue chip caliber athletes to run this offense. Vad Lee had the perfect physical makeup for it. He was the most high profile athletic freak that they recruited to play quarterback for them since they had Nesbitt. And part of the reason why, I think the main reason why he went to Georgia Tech is that they were probably one of the few programs to actually convince him that he could play quarterback there instead of moving him to wide receiver. So in he came, and while his athletic ability was through the roof, he really couldn't grasp it. I think running this offense was much harder than he thought it was going to be. It requires a lot of quick decision making. It requires being, steady and reliable in your decision making. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems. You're going to find yourself in too many negative yardage plays. You're going to be committing turnovers, fumbling the ball. And the way Georgia Tech is built, they just can't function like that. So it wasn't really a successful marriage, and he ends up tucking tail and transferring to, I think he's at James Madison. And while he had a live arm, he wasn't really very, refined as a passer. So the Vad Lee era just didn't quite pan out as much as it was hyped to be. In hindsight, he probably should have gone somewhere like Nevada where he could run the pistol, or Nebraska, Mississippi State, some place that runs, run first, shotgun, or pistol with a zone read element. That would have been the best fit for him looking back at it. But with me controlling him in this game, he has the opportunity at redemption. We don't have to worry about those pesky little things like intangibles and mental makeup. Now in recruiting, obviously you're going to be recruiting a lot of running backs. You're going to be converting some of them to that B-back spot. Not all of them can play slot back. Some of them are going to have to play fullback. He's going to be getting a lot of carries, and there just aren't a lot of good running fullbacks to go around. Most of the fullbacks that you find in recruiting, they're either blockers or they're pass catchers. They're like mini tight ends. Sometimes when I'm recruiting tight ends, I'll position change some of them to fullback if I need to. I'll sometimes take a receiver tight end or a receiving tight end and position change him to wide receiver to get those impact blocks on the outside for the jet and rocket sweeps. They'll block better than wide receivers. You don't miss too much as far as route running goes, and beating press, and plus you have a nice size matchup downfield. For the slot back spots, I actually prefer recruiting athletes as opposed to natural running backs, mainly because the athletes, they tend to have better receiving skills, route running, and catching skills than natural halfbacks. You need your slot backs to catch the ball. They kind of have to be half running back, half slot receiver, hence the name slot back. Sometimes you'll come across a Percy Harvin type wide receiver in recruiting. If I can get one of those, I'll convert him to running back and play him at slot back. And my best natural runners, they'll play the B-back spot, preferably a power back. But if I get a stud who isn't a power back, I'm not going to whine, complain, and say no. So I'm going to over-recruit running back for that reason. So you can have depth at fullback and depth at slot back because you're going to need it. Quarterback is easy enough. Scrambler, obviously, or a balanced QB. You want to have bare minimum of low to mid 70s as far as your speed and your carry rating. You don't want him fumbling out there too much. Injury rating has to be halfway decent. He's going to be taking a lot of hits, and he's got to be a good enough thrower for you to function with, to survive with. You'll need that for those times that you want to or have to throw the football. I'm playing this on modified Heisman sliders, and you guys know how the EA CPU rolls and you're playing on all Madden or Heisman difficulty, you're gonna have those games where what you want to do is just not gonna be allowed to function. So you're gonna have an answer. You're gonna have to pull something out of your bag of tricks, and you're gonna need to have a quarterback there who can throw it. And of course, you can always recruit athletes if you don't like the natural quarterbacks that are in the recruiting class. If you're having to find one, you get some really good freak athletes out there. Guys with running back attributes for their speed, acceleration, break tackle, and all that good stuff, but can still throw the ball. So if you can get one of those guys, grab one and run. Offensive line, obviously, run blocking, impact blocking, and strength are very important. Either run blocking offensive linemen or balanced offensive linemen. And for my outside receivers, I like them big and able to beat press coverage with good spec catch and catch and traffic ratings. That's my preference as far as my wide receivers go. Always has been, always will be. Defensively, as far as the 3-3-5 stack is concerned, got some pretty good pieces. I got some pretty good corners, some athletic safeties. There, my corner is peeking too far inside and gives up a TD pass. The CPU says, I'm not quite ready to get blown out yet. So I got to score again. And there I hit God high on the option pitch. But, I have Jeremiah Tauchu out there, who's very versatile, good pass rusher. Both either standing up and coming in on a blitz on a four-man rush, and I can have him drop down to defensive end. I have two pretty good strong safeties as Vad Lee takes the midline. Got to have two stud strong safeties in the 3-3-5 stack, and my defensive line is kind of on the average side. They're probably going to get exposed some when the level of competition bumps up here against Southern Alabama. As you see Anthony Williams there come crashing in for a sack. They can do some pretty good things, but I have North Carolina next, and when I start playing better teams like North Carolina and teams like Clemson, Florida State, so on and so forth, probably going to get exposed a little bit there. So I got to beef up the defensive line. So now this game is pretty much over. I'm putting in some backups. Justin Thomas, the current Georgia Tech QB, is in the game. Don't want any injuries, and just kind of put the icing on this cake. So should be fun offense, fun defense. Wasn't gonna go searching for updated rosters. I actually kind of like seeing the older names there, just for nostalgia purposes, really. But I'm gonna keep this one going, I promise. And I'll keep you guys updated on how the recruiting is going, and do more of this. This was fun. David Sims gets player of the game. Got the B-back rumbling. And next up, we got North Carolina. So enjoy the bowl games, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace.